right, it's 10 o'clock. We are going to get going. Again, we've got head coach Greg McDermott. If you've got a question, click on the raised hand feature. We will start off with John Niatawa.
Good morning, Greg.
Morning.
One of the things that Damien said after the game, you want to say John's maybe, was just like he's had a lot of conversations with you about just, I think what the general sense that I got was he was saying that you kind of just kept encouraging him to continue to sort of expand his game and to affect the game in other ways. And I just wonder what you remember about some of those conversations that to help get him maybe out of his shell and confident in other aspects of the way he can contribute to your team.
Well, DJ was a great scorer in high school, and then I think when you come to college, you just assume that's who you're going to be, and then I think you get to college and you realize everybody was a great scorer in high school, and for a team to function at a high level, you have to have guys that are willing to do other things. And Damien, during the course of his time here, has embraced that, and now has become a good defender, a good rebounder. His leadership qualities are at a very high level right now. And he can still hit big shots and he can still score when we need him to score. But I think what he did at St. John's with 8 assists, getting into the paint, making plays for other people, is just a sign of how his game has grown during his time as a Blue Jay.
All right, next up, we'll go to Andy Kendi.
Hey, Matt. You guys grinding out a victory yesterday. Obviously did that so many times last year, but what can it do for this year's team to prove you can win on maybe not your greatest shooting night on the road?
Yeah, I mean, it's you don't apologize for any win in this league. It's every team I think was in the top 100 yesterday, all 11, and there's good basketball teams across the board. So anytime you can get one, you take it. But I think I think winning with some defense and some grit, especially our defense in overtime and our ability to rebound in overtime was really, really good. And even the last, 3 or 4 minutes of the game to give ourselves a chance, we had to get some stops. And we got a couple second opportunities on the offensive glass. So, we did things in a different way than we're accustomed to. When things are rolling and things are clicking, we're shooting 40+% from the three-point line. That's all going great. And we got some of those shots in the second half. We got shots from the three-point line that we were really, really happy with. They just didn't go in. And it's refreshing to get a win like that against a physical kind of smash-mouth UConn team.
Next up, we'll go to Tom Chattel.
Good morning, man. Thanks for doing this.
You got it.
How do you feel about having fans come back this Wednesday night? And what was the big reason to have them back, or I guess your discussion, I guess, as a school?
Well, I know this is going to surprise you, but I wasn't part of those discussions, so I've got enough on my plate that doesn't need to be added to it. But I think as I mentioned, I think after the Kansas game, I think that was good for both teams to play in front of a few thousand fans. I know our guys enjoyed having some energy in the building. And, you have to be able to do it safely. And I think the combination of the protocols that we'll have in place as a university combined with what Mecca has in place, I think will allow our fans to be safe, our players, our coaches, the referees, and everybody that's working the game to be there and feel like, they're not putting their health at risk because of the decision that's been made. So, we're going to give it a shot. We'll see how it goes. I hope the fans that come, I hope they cheer loud through their mask, but I also hope they abide by the rules that have been set in place so that we can possibly continue to move forward with this as the season goes on. And, I think it'll be fun, but it's, safety's the number one priority, and it has to be. And obviously there'll be people that have opportunities to come to the game. They're going to choose not to. And I understand that as well. And, I'd also like to say there's a lot of fans that would like to come to the game that aren't going to have an opportunity to. And, my message to them is we really appreciate you. And we're going to do everything we can moving forward as long as the curve continues to go the right direction to try to get you in to see some Creighton games after the first of the year. So we're going to do our best we can with the situation that we've been dealt. And but I think it'll be fun to at least hear a little bit of noise in that building on Wednesday afternoon.
Next to Matt DeMarinis.
Hey, Mac, I'm going to stagger these out of respect to keep everything going here. The last play of regulation, DJ said he saw the play call and was kind of surprised because it meant the ball's coming to him. He had to kind of realize the moment that he had to make a play with not a lot of time on the clock to get you guys to OT. So I wonder what you were thinking, why you thought DJ was the guy in that situation to get it to. And then also, you're not really an emotional dude on the sideline, but it seemed like you were pretty fired up after that went in. Like, what was going through your mind after you guys got that to OT?
Well, I'll start with the second part. There was a lot of emotion in that building throughout the game. There was a lot of talking going on. So I guess we're not afraid to do our part when things go well for us. But it was a very competitive, hard-fought game. And, nobody really, we got ahead in the first half, and then we had the foul trouble, and they got back in it. And from that point, nobody could really get away from each other. It was 5 or 6 points at the most from then on moving forward in the game. So there was a lot of emotion, and to see our guys fight back in the manner with which we did it was encouraging. And, it's okay that they see a little positive emotion out of me once in a while. So, that's okay. In regards to DJ, I had a lot of play calls in my mind that were going to require, some multiple screening options that if they switch it and they take it away, do I put the inbounder in a tough spot, and what's option number 2 in that situation? I just felt like the play that we called, we were going to get it into DJ, and DJ was going to make a good decision. Will he make the shot? Will he find somebody for a shot? That was yet to be known, but I felt like the way DJ's played, especially as of late, the decisions that he's made with the basketball, it was giving us the best opportunity to get that thing to overtime.
Next, we'll go to Rhett Smith.
Talking about Xavier on Wednesday, beat him twice last year, but obviously it's a new year. What have you seen from them so far this year, and what's kind of the scouting report?
Well, I'll be shocked if they're not a top 25 team today. Their last 3 games, winning at Cincinnati and then, scoring over 90 points against Oklahoma and Marquette, I think speaks to, how they're playing offensively. They play a lot like we do offensively. They have multiple guys that can shoot the 3-point shot. They're shooting, over 41% from the 3-point line on the year, and have a lot of guys that can do it. So, they're going to spread you out, and then you've got to deal with, a guy like Suggs off the dribble, who's very crafty at getting into the paint, making things happen. But Zach Fremantle's playing at a really high levels, made a great jump from his freshman year to his sophomore year. Their transfers, Johnson from Gardner-Webb shooting 56% from the 3-point line, and then Kunkel from Belmont, who just became eligible, hit the game winner yesterday. And he's someone that we recruited and really loved the way he played, and he fits Travis's system really well, understands how to play, but can shoot the daylights out of the basketball. So I don't think this is going to be a 65 to 64 game. We might need to score 94 or 95 to win it. I think it'll be an entertaining basketball game against 2 really good offensive teams.
Next, we'll go to John Niatala.
Yeah, great. We didn't get to see you guys practice this, and I know it was all kind of disjointed, but was Denzel locked in right from the jump? In terms of once he got back on campus, it seems like since the season started, he's been playing at another level, and I wonder if that's kind of been a build-up or what you saw from him once you got everybody back together. Yeah,
he spent some time, a couple months in Vegas working out this summer against some pretty good players, so I think that helped him and helped his confidence. But I don't think he sat around when he was home. I think he worked, and his body looks great, and I think he's feeling great. Yesterday he didn't probably defend. The first half, and especially early in the second half, the way that he wanted to and the way that I wanted him to. And part of that's on me, part of it's on his teammates at times, because, do I get up and take that 3 away? And if I take that 3 away, do I know I have the help behind me to cover me if I get beat? And the other thing is Denzel's never really guarded anybody like that. I mean, Bouknight's an NBA player, and Denzel was guarding 4s and 5s last year. So and he's played the 4 when he was at SEMO. So like he has not been in a position where he's guarding an NBA level wing. And to his credit, the last 5 minutes of that game and the overtime, Bouknight got nothing easy. He made the 2 shots late, one where we went to zone just to try to burn 10 or 12 seconds and not let him get a quick 2. The other one on the offensive rebound that was meaningless when the shot went off. So, what he did the last 5 minutes of the game and in overtime was a huge reason why we won that game.
Got time for a couple more questions. We'll start with Matt DeMarinis.
I know you guys were in a tough position with Alex once he got eligible. You mentioned he got some reps with the first team based on the injuries and quarantine we went through before the season started. But what have you seen so far that I guess you feel like is a positive, and what have you seen so far that you feel like is still going to take some time getting him kind of incorporated as much as you would like to?
The negatives are he just doesn't know our stuff yet. That's just the reality. And there's no reason he should. You can study it all you want, on tape or on paper or draw it up, but until you get on the court and you have to know something in the heat of the moment, know where to be and the timing of it. There's no way he should know that, and that's going to take some practice time, and probably going to be after Christmas before we get that kind of practice time where we can really work on ourselves. And then defensively, he's just, at Duke, they got out and denied passes. They stretched it out, and we don't play that way. So he's been drilled in those areas during the course of practice, but it's just going to take him some time to get more comfortable with it. Positive is, I think you saw, he's a great cutter. He hit a couple of great shots off the move, 2-point shots. And then I think he'll be our best rebounding guard. He can go up in traffic and get rebounds. But Alex is going to be fine, and it's happening, really kind of across the country. Xavier's got a transfer. Ben Stanley, I believe is his name, from Norfolk State, who's really, really talented. He played 3 minutes yesterday or whatever, 6 minutes, whatever it was. It's just really hard. You've got your rotation, and can you put a guy like Alex out there in a situation where we're going to need a play executed, and this possession could be in the game, and we're not sure he knows exactly where to be, and that's not his fault. It's not our fault. It's a result of the situation we're in. But I think you're going to see him impact our team in a positive way moving forward, and he's going to end up having the type of career at Creighton that I thought he would have when we were fortunate enough to get him to come here.
All right, final 2 questions. We'll start with Andy Kendi, then when he's done, we'll go to John Niatala.
Hey, Mac, how do you deal with this goofy week? With you got the game Wednesday, and then you got a little time before your next one. Especially during these times, how do you handle the holiday and it's tough to get everybody together to do something together in this?
Yeah.
How do you deal with it?
Yeah, we're still making some decisions there on what we're going to do with our guys. I think over half of the Big East is now sending their guys home for Christmas or bringing some family to their locations for the holidays. Our guys need a break. We've essentially been going since September 21st, and this last Wednesday will mark our 6th game in 16 days, which is more of an NBA schedule than a college schedule. And I would say there's 7 or 6, 7, 8 of our guys on our team that haven't seen their family since the middle of August. So you have to kind of weigh, is there risk to sending some guys home? Yeah, yes, there is. Will them going home for a few days help us get through the next couple months from a mental and mental health standpoint and well-being standpoint? Very possibly. So, those are decisions that, frankly, we're going to make probably during the course of the next 6 hours or so. And if, Villanova and St. John's decided to push their game back on December 30th, and if that's what we have to do to get the guys home, that's something that we're possibly going to consider.
All right, final question, John Niatala.
One more on DJ. Anything different that you've noticed about his jump shot? Because I know he put a lot of work on during the offseason.
He put a lot of work into it, John, the year that he sat out. And if you look at his numbers pre-injury to that ankle, they were really good. And The year he was having, the year he hurt his ankle, he didn't shoot it great his first year, but prior to him, or the start of his first year, he shot it okay, and then he hurt his ankle and missed, and then came back and didn't shoot it well. And then I still think he felt the impact of that last year at the start of the season, because he still wasn't feeling 100%. And then he missed some shots, and it gets in your head, and you can't get out of your own way. But if you take out whatever number of games that was, 20 or 25 games that were probably impacted by that injury, what he's done prior to that and what he's done since then has been a 40% three-point shooter. So he has the green light to shoot it. He had the green light to shoot it last year as well, and he'll continue to have the green light. But it's a lot of hard work. The guy's in here every night shooting the basketball. So the reality of it is we've always had confidence in his ability to shoot it once we changed some of his mechanics. And to his credit, he's worked hard to clean those mechanics up, and as a result has become a very reliable shooter.
All right, we are joined now by senior guard Alex O'Connell. Again, if you've got a question, click on the raised hand feature. We'll start off with Rex Smith.
Alex, Coach Mack was talking about once you get a feel for the system and it becomes sort of second nature for you, he thinks you could really have the type of career at Creighton that they envisioned for you when you came over from Duke. How do you see that going? What's your goal? What do you think you can accomplish in your time here?
It's definitely something new for me that I learned after being at Duke for 3 years. So and I definitely love the system. It's a very free-flowing system, lots of space in the offense. And I've been running with the scout team for the last few weeks until the NCAA decided to grant eligibility to everyone. So I haven't been getting the necessary reps with the guys who've been playing as much, but I've got 2 games under my belt, so I'm just trying to get a better feel for it. And I really envision the same future for myself at Creighton. I see myself really being a successful impact guy here. Whether it's this year or next year, I really like this team, and I really want to be a part of something special.
Next, we'll go to John Niatawa with the Omaha World Herald.
Yeah, what was it like stepping out on the court at St. John's without that preparation? You hadn't had a ton of reps. It had to be a little bit nerve-wracking, right? Just to get out there. I don't know. What did it feel like?
Yeah, it was definitely. It was a little nerve-wracking just because it had been almost like a year since I've stepped on the court playing a game, and the whole eligibility decision was really kind of sudden. So, but no, it felt great to be back out on the court. In more than just a practice setting and playing against my teammates. It felt good to play against somebody else, and I feel like once I get that rhythm back and I get that confidence back, then I can really be a pretty impactful guy in this system, which I'm sure the coaches know.
Next, we'll go to Andy Kendi with Channel 7.
Yeah, what's been the biggest challenge? Is it just the knowledge of the system, or is it confidence, rhythm, that type of, or is it all of the above?
Yeah, I think it is a little bit of all the above. I've definitely gotten a lot of my confidence in practice, playing against these guys every day, getting good reps offensively and defensively. So, I think the confidence is there, especially from practice. But, I think it is just getting a rhythm and, starting to feel the offense out a little bit more, getting to know my personnel, who does what, where to be when he does this, that kind of stuff. Just trying to figure out and get a better feel for my teammates.
Next, we'll go to Matt DeMarinis with White and Blue Review.
Alex, obviously the way Creighton plays defensively and the way you were taught at Duke are pretty different in terms of a scheme and what you were trying to do. What are the major differences to you that lead to a big learning curve for a guy in your position, that these are the principles I have to be sound on in Creighton system versus this is what we're trying to do with Duke?
I've told a couple of my teammates that the defensive system here is almost like a opposite of what we did at Duke. We force baseline, and here at Creighton it's force middle to the gap help, and I'm starting to get a better feel for the defense and a better idea where to be and when to be there. And I think once I get a better hold of that, then I can really sit down on the defensive end and help get stops with these guys.
Next, we'll go to Rex Smith with WOWT.
Just curious, obviously you had an impression of the team seeing what they did last year. What's been your impression of your teammates and everything ever since you've gotten with them and have been around them now for a while?
I saw their success last year, and, you know, that's part of the reason that drew me here. And Coach Mack, you know, just as successful as a coach as he's been, and, you know, the offensive system and the schemes that he draws up, you know, it was a big part of me coming here. But, you know, another part was the guys. I really like the guys. You know, we were bonding pretty well. I've had a great experience with them so far. And, you know, my first impression was that, you know, they share the ball. You know, right now we have like 5-6 guys averaging double figures. So, I mean, it's definitely a place where I wanted to be a part of and just, you know, get to know these guys better and really become a impactful guy here as well along with them.
Next, we'll go back to John Niatawa with the Omaha World Herald.
I mean, Alex, I think initially your thought was like, yeah, I'm going to use this year to kind of really just zone in on skill development and strength training. Obviously, the rules have changed and the situation's different, but I wonder what kind of led you to say, you know what, I want to play. Like,
yeah,
what factored into that for you?
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely a crazy thing. Like when all this came about, I was definitely focused on just working out in the weight room and getting stronger and working on my skill development. But, you know, I sat down with my dad a few times when we talked about it, and, like, you know, this opportunity was kind of one that I couldn't pass up. Me and Coach Maggie, it was almost like a freebie, you know, just to get another year under my belt, more experience, you know, get to be in the game with these guys, play with them, learn what they do more. You know, I think it was just an opportunity that I just couldn't pass up.
All right, we've got time for a couple more minutes of questions. Again, if you have a question, click on the raised hand feature. We'll go back to John Niatawa.
I actually wanted to ask you about, I know you haven't been around your teammates a lot, but I want to ask you about one guy in particular, because like, it seems like Damien Jefferson, the energy he brings, the positive vibes that he kind of shares, like, you guys feed off that. And I wonder just, what's your impression of Damien, just, you know, from a personality standpoint, the way he impacts his team?
Yeah, I mean, I think a great example of that was last night. You know, there was a few stretches where we were down, but he came into the huddle screaming, yelling. He's definitely a leader for these guys, and that's something that I've come to notice. You know, he's a voice that they'll listen to, and he's a guy that brings energy. And I think him being an older, more mature guy, you know, they definitely will listen to him. And, you know, he, like last night, you know, he brings energy. He does some hard work stuff. He's more like what we call a junkyard dog where I'm from. So, you know, he's definitely a guy that if he plays hard, you know, the rest of the guys will most likely follow in that footstep.
All right, we'll go back to Matt DeMarinis.
Hey Alex, I just wondered, like, how hard has it been to not be, you know, near your family maybe as much as you would be in a typical season, just because of the amount you're trying to control within your own team to keep yourself safe and able to play.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know what you're looking forward to about Christmas, to just maybe have a chance to get some normalcy with family.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely been a little difficult being away from family as long as we have, and especially over the holidays like this. You know, it's something that usually we're not used to, or we might even go home even if it's for 2 or 3 days. We at least get to see our family for 72 hours. But, you know, we're trying to make it up for the time with each other. You know, we spend a lot of time with each other. We hang out, and, you know, obviously we're trying to do it and stay COVID free. So, I mean, we're doing the best that we can, and we're just trying to make the most of what we have right now.
Next, we'll go back to Andy Kendi, Channel 7.
Alex, how important is patience with you? Because I know that you have high expectations, and if things aren't clicking immediately for you, how do you just say patience? I was working with the scout team, like, you know, 10 minutes ago, it seems like, and now you're on the floor in key moments.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good question, actually. I mean, because obviously, like you said, I want to be a guy who can make an impact right away, but obviously patience is something that I'm going to have to, you know, get a grasp on, especially with the offense and just, you know, these guys that coach has playing. I mean, they've been in this system for a long time. They've done it. Like, they made that run last year, and I'm sure they would have went very far in the tournament. So they've seen it. They know what it takes. So, and like I've been to a tournament game. I've played in big time arenas, so I know what it takes as well. But, you know, to do it with these guys, you know, it might take some time, and I'm definitely okay with that. You know, I want to just keep learning the system and, you know, try to fit in as best as I can around these guys who have been here for a long time, you know, and, you know.
All right, we got 2 more questions. We'll start out with Rex Smith, and we'll go to John Niatawa last.
One of the draws coming to Creighton is always the fan base. How excited are you and the guys just to get some fans in the building starting on Wednesday? Even though it's not a lot, it's still something that can help boost you at home.
Yeah, we're definitely excited and looking forward to that. Like when we played at Kansas, they only had, I think it was the same amount, but it was definitely a great environment, lots of energy. It reminded me of like a big time high school game, and that's something that I kind of miss playing in. So I mean, I'm very excited and looking forward to there being fans in the building.
Rodney Antawa?
So what was the review, Alex, of your first 2 games? Like, I don't know, how do you process your performance? I mean, do you obsess over the mistakes, kind of just be happy about some of the good things you did, knowing, as you said, preaching patience? How did you look back at those 2 games?
I mean, right now I'm after the first game I couldn't stop smiling just because I was got to play after a whole year. I'm back here, like I'm in the game with these guys, and it's only been 2 games, so I'm trying to just process, mainly look at stuff on the defensive end, because that's really the most important thing for our team, because the points will come with this team with how loaded and how much depth we have. So I'm looking at the defensive end majority of the time and just trying to be in the right spot, be at the right time. So like I said, 2 games in, I'm just trying to be happy that I'm out here, because a few weeks ago my plan wasn't even to be on the floor, and now I'm on the floor wearing the uniform. So I'm just excited, taking it one game at a time.